Hello and welcome to my channel everyone. My name is Gunjan and I'll be painting a pet portrait of a cute corgi puppy today. I'm actually painting this one for a very good friend of mine and I'll be sharing the whole painting process. So I hope you enjoy it. Hi guys, so first I'm going to be using some yellow ochre. I'm wetting my paints, creating really fluid light paint for the first wash. The second color I'm using is burnt umber. My paints today are from Winsor Newton. Whilst doing the painting, I'll also be using brilliant red and a bit of ultramarine and maybe a little bit of ivory black towards the end. So here I'm starting by just wetting my face of the dog first. So this is a corgi. It's a very cute, adorable puppy. So while dropping the paint onto the wet paper, I am continuously looking at the reference image and deciding where the dark areas are, where the light areas are. Usually in the first wash, the areas that are lighter, like the white areas, I just completely leave them untouched by paint. So as you can see a little bit on the ears, I'm just leaving that area. Towards the end, you'll see the whole image really comes together and looks very bright when you do this. So now I'm just dropping some burnt umber as well. Again, looking at my reference image, deciding where the darker parts are, where the lighter parts are. Because the paper is super wet right now, so I'm not really blending the things. I'm just going to let the paper do the work on its own. So now I'm taking some ultramarine blue and I'm mixing it with the brilliant red. This will help me create a little bit of a purplish, dark purplish color. I'll also mix it with a little bit of the burnt umber every now and then. So this will help me add those shadows in the darker areas. So I'll only put it in the areas which are super dark. So for example, maybe around the eyes, a bit of the mouth, maybe some corners of the ears. And right now, even the consistency of this paint is still very liquidy. It's not super thick because it's just the first wash. I will be layering this later on to make the areas even darker. But for the first wash, I like to keep it quite light and fluid. So at this point I've added enough paint for my first wash. Now I'm just using my damp brush, cleaning it first and just sort of softly, gently rubbing it over the paints that I've put to blend everything together. So here I'm not using a lot of pores and my paintbrush is not super wet, it's just slightly damp. I'm just gonna gently stroke everything to bring it all together so it doesn't look separate. So now I'm mixing some ultramarine, some brilliant red and brown to create a shade for my nose. The nose I'll be painting wet on dry because it's a very small area and I don't want the paint to spread up to other areas. So for this, at this point, it's still going to be light. It's going to be like a bluish, purplish nose, and then later on we'll be adding some black and some darker tones. The most important thing I think on the nose is that you do leave a little bit of a reflection at the tip of the nose. So if you notice, I'll pick up a little bit of the paint later on just to make sure that I have a good reflection on the nose because most dogs actually have that, and you can also look at the reference image for that. So here I'm picking up the paint with the dry brush. You can only do this when the paint is still very wet. So just press the paintbrush hard on the nose and pick it up. So for the body of the dog, again, I'll be doing the same thing. For the first wash, I'll be wetting the whole body, and then I'll be adding my ochre, my burnt umber, and my shadows according to the reference image. now we're gonna move on to the eyes of the dog. So I've already outlined the eyes with my violet mixture earlier. At this point, I'm just gonna take some burnt umber and first outline the areas that I'm gonna leave white, which is very important. After I've outlined the areas, I'm just wetting the brush a little bit and just painting it flat. So the first layer is going to be like this, and in the second layer we'll be able to add more darker shades to some parts of the eyes, but really focus on the reference image while painting the eyes to make the dog look more realistic. And yeah, you'll be seeing we'll add some dark shades now on the outer corners of the eyes, and really making sure that you leave the white spots as they are, because those are the ones that really give the dog the cute facial features. I'm just erasing all of the pencil marks that I have just to see how the image actually looks without them, because sometimes they can overlap with the paint and create darker areas. This will allow me to really look at the painting from a distance and decide where I want to add my second wash, which areas I want darker or lighter, to really give the dog its overall outline. So here I'm just using wet on dry technique again, but I'm just using a bit of brown and then mixed with a bit of ultramarine to add fine lines, to add some hair. I will be blending this as well because I don't really like harsh lines at all. But now I'm really looking at my reference image and deciding which areas need to become a bit darker to add a bit more dimension to the dog's face, mainly. So now I'm using my rigger brush and I'm using black, ivory black, to add some fine lines, some fine hair. You can even use a bit of white, maybe a gouache or acrylic white as well, to add some more finer details, like some more hair. It makes the corgi look more realistic, even though I've not done it yet. So at this point I will just be adding a shadow. So for this I'm again using like a mixture of blue and red, as well creating some darker areas and lighter areas, just to outline and give the dog's fur at the bottom a bit more definition, as it's white in color. You can totally skip this step as well, depending on your background. So that's all for my painting today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me and I'll be sure to post more of these. Thank you so much.